Yes. So let's pass the time a little quicker by talking to our friends.
Right now we're folding towels. Towels is easy, I think.
Right. It's like the kids' stuff and getting them to put
Gym
the junk
clothes
away.
and baseball clothes and football clothes.
Yeah. Good times. Adulting. Adulting is fun, guys.
I feel like we do laundry like, I don't know.
Once a week.
No.
Once every 2 weeks.
That's even like once a month. Once every 6 weeks.
That probably means
But
we
it
have
takes
too
like
much.
all day long.
Right. We probably have too much stuff.
Well, I think
Because we can cycle through that long. I don't think most people can go that long.
But I don't have time to be doing laundry all day long either.
Me either.
This is the life.
So, while we fold laundry, we thought we would talk about our most common question that we get.
I get it too, and it like doesn't
yeah.
even pertain to me.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
But whatever, I answer it.
So it's more of how I got started on social media, how others can do it. What do they ask you?
They always ask me, how did she get started? Yeah, like it wasn't anything that you tried to like pursue
Right,
or
no.
achieve or anything. I guess you just
I was scrolling TikTok
Yeah.
and I saw a girl and she tried on some jeans and I was like, oh, those are really cute. And they were from Walmart. And I think she said they were like $12 or $15 or something. And I was like, I need to find these jeans. I thought, wow, her video made me want to go buy these jeans. Maybe if I make a video.
She was influenced.
I was influenced. And if I made a video about her influencing me, then maybe we could reach more people. So that's what I did.
The world.
Yeah, I ran off to Walmart to find these jeans. I recorded the entire thing. I sounded like a complete lunatic and crazy person.
I couldn't hear you because you were whispering. I think you were just so like scared.
I was scared. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. And to film yourself already, it feels awkward, but then to film
Right.
yourself out in public, just tenfold. Yeah. So I was whispering. That first video was just a little bit of a train wreck, but it got me started. So
Right, and it like went semi-viral.
Right.
Well, like viral then versus viral now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 100,000 views versus like millions of views
Millions.
these days now. So
Right.
it's just crazy how like social media changes,
always.
so fast. So you kind of found yourself in that. What was one thing you wish you knew before you started social media influencing, content creating, whatever you want to call it? She
Yeah.
hates that phrase. Like
I do.
People are like, "What do you do for a living?" And she's like, "Well,
I create content.
I create content." And
But
they're like,
not
"What is
weird
that?
content."
What does that mean? Like feet pictures? It's like,
No.
I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
There's always like that awkward.
Right. Like
Does it feel as awkward for you saying it as it does for me watching the conversation?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But I guess what I really wish someone would have told me when I first started is what you do or what your career is, whatever your work is, that doesn't define who you are. I think that's probably across the board with any career,
Right.
where what you do is not who you are. You have to know who you, especially with social media, I think you really need to know who you are and be okay with yourself
Right.
before you go into it.
Yeah, because I feel like that insecurity kind of like translates,
That
through the camera onto someone else's phone. So.
Oh, for sure. And then if you're not confident in who you are, you're going to allow others to tell you who you are. So those comments that come in, and you're just going to allow that to happen, whether they're good or bad. Everybody can be praising you and telling you that you're amazing and wonderful and great. And then you'll start believing that. But then that one person comes in and says, your teeth are ugly, or you look like a rabbit, or you know what I mean? Like anything. So you have to really know who you are before you step into it. And I think I was at a good place mentally and just like with myself when I first grew into this whole platform thing.
Right. And I think most people, like, they see success as like having those videos go viral, but at the same time, like, yeah, that's great. But like going viral can mean like things get vicious for you. So
yeah, viral can mean very, very much viciousness. Because not only when your video goes viral, you're not only, it's not being shown to the people that are
Just your
following
followers,
you.
right?
Yeah. It's showing to the masses. So it's showing to people that don't want to follow you, that don't like your content. And it's showing people that you don't even want to see your videos. And people are vocal.
Right. Just keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
Anonymous profiles.
Right. They will eat you alive. So, and if you're not secure in who you are and things like that, that can really be damaging to yourself.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. If you see something that like, triggers you, sets you off, whatever, like, you just have to know like when to turn it off. Kind of
Right.
like, okay, like we're kind of in some territory that I'm not comfortable with.
yeah, definitely. You have to have boundaries. I think with any job, you have to have boundaries, but like with social media, for me personally, I know on days that I feel stronger than others. So if I know that if I see one comment it'll make me spiral. And then other days I can see the same comment and I'll laugh at it and I'll be like, oh my gosh, look what this person said.
Yeah.
But so you have to know those boundaries and know where you are mentally to be able to be it. I wish somebody would have told me it's okay to shut it off. It's okay for
Right.
you to not be on there 24/7. So
Yeah, it's because, social media was there before you started, and social media is going to be there after you call it quits. So,
right, for sure.
same thing. Just calling it quits for the day, for the night, just because you didn't reply to that one DM, that one comment, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it'll be there. That notification's not going anywhere. It's going to be there.
Yeah. And so for me, like I try to shut my quote unquote work day off around 4:30. So that's when like everybody's basically home. My kids are home from school. He's home from work. Where now I do work about an hour at night after 8:00, but up until that point, like I'm not in my stories or anything like that. So I set those boundaries and I know work life versus mom wife life.
Yeah. Let me move this thing. Like you guys are just getting the raw deal here. Like we are literally just sitting on the floor folding laundry.
Yep. Welcome to our life.
Welcome to the floor. So you went into it knowing like you wanted to do something fashion-y. Mm-hmm. You have to know your niche.
Yes.
So you have to know what you're talking about. You have to know who you're talking to.
Right.
Like how were you able to figure like that's what you wanted to do, I guess.
Yeah. So for me, I've always loved fashion. And even since I was a little girl, I thought I was going to go to New York. I've said this a million times. I thought I was going to go to New York and be a buyer for a giant corporation. That didn't pan out, which is totally fine because I think this job that I have now is way cooler. But for my niche was fashion, but not just fashion. It was more of for those moms that kind of lost themselves in motherhood. Didn't really know who they were anymore, didn't know how to dress this new body that they had after having kids. And then also they didn't have the budget to go out and buy all these fancy name brand clothes.
Designer label, right?
Yeah, so I really wanted to help women feel confident in their clothes without breaking the bank. And that is really where I narrowed down my niche into being affordable fashion.
Right. And just like I think last night before last, you had someone inbox you and it's like, hey, I'm trying to grow my platform, my followers.
Yeah.
Any advice? And like we both looked at it and both had the same thoughts, kind of like it was all over the board. It was like, learn how to play an instrument, learn how to do this, learn how to lose weight.
Yeah.
And then the title was like the so-and-so family, but then like when you watch the content, none of it was like family
There was
related.
nothing
It was just
family.
like one individual. So
You have to be clear in what you're here to provide your followers. Because if you're not, then it's just going to get lost.
Right.
And they're not going to know what to expect when they come to your platform.
you're just kind of like adding to their noise
Right,
at that
like,
point in time. You're not bringing any value.
Yeah, we already all have so much chaos going on. Like we don't need to go to a platform that's like, oh, here's all the things. Let me
Right.
dump out my bucket of things for you.
Right.
And make sure your niche is something you're passionate about. Because if you're
that's
not,
good.
if you're not passionate about it, people are going to know that one. Like they're going to feel the inauthenticity of it. And then you're going to get burnt out as well. Like if you're just trying to share something because you saw Sally share it and she went viral and she made it work. But that was because that's what she was passionate about. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it would be weird if I would have started this and been like, I'm passionate about books. And I want to tell you all about books.
You're not a reader
And
at all.
I'm not a reader. I'm a podcast listener, and I love audiobooks, but I don't sit down and read books
Yeah.
very often. So
Who's Sally, by the way?
I don't know. She lives down the street.
That is funny. So people always say content is king. Content is king. You have to have great content. So I would take that a step further and say if content's king, consistency is queen.
100%.
And the queen rules the roost. So like for people who are starting social media, what would you say about content and consistency?
You have to be consistent with your content. If you're not consistent, people aren't going to know when you're going to be producing things, and so they're not going to stick around. You know what I mean?
It's almost like we always talk about this all the time. Like, what was your favorite show growing up? Oh yeah, I love that one. That one always came on like Tuesday night.
nights.
Yeah. Or oh yeah, that came on Friday night, and then it was followed by this show and that show. It's just like people know when to expect something from
Right.
you. So I think there's some gold in that.
Like if I would have had that very first video go viral, and then I didn't do anything for like another week and a half or
Right,
even
you
a
slept
month,
on it, right?
like my platform would have never grown one as quickly as it did, or even probably I wouldn't have the platform today. But I saw that video go viral, and I thought I'm going to do it again.
Right.
So
kind
the next
of reverse engineered the whole thing.
yeah. So the next day I went back to Walmart and shot another video in the dressing room, and maybe it was a little bit louder, but maybe not.
Still learning.
It's still learning. And so you just have to be consistent, and you got to figure out what that is for you and
Right.
what is sustainable for you. I know when I first started making videos, after I like kind of grew a little bit, then I was listening to all these social media gurus. They were like, you have to make 5 videos every single day, 7 days a week. And I was like,
That's a lot.
there's no way.
Right.
I would have been burnt out within the first month, and I would have never been able to do this. So you need to figure out what's sustainable for you and be consistent so that people know when to expect you.
Right. It kind of goes back to boundaries too.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And I think when you're first starting too, like I think of myself like in art school, just kind of like create something even if it sucks.
Yes.
Because you're learning, you're growing.
Yeah.
But like you're going to grow from that opportunity. So like, what do you think about that? Like
Oh yeah, like
creating content that sucks and cringes.
yes.
Like
it's
that's
all
the stuff
gonna-
that's going to go viral. I mean,
It
that's
is.
just
Every single time you're gonna create amazing stuff, and you're like, this is it, and
it's going to sit there with
20,000
views.
views. Yeah, exactly. And then you're going to make something, and it's just going to be like, oh, that was the worst video I've ever made, and it will go viral. And so you just create it, throw it out there,
Yeah.
but stay within your niche, especially in your beginning stages. You really want to narrow down your niche in the beginning stages, because if you're brand new, people aren't going to know what to expect from you. So,
Right.
yeah.
And that's the thing too. It's just like I felt like you did that over and over again, and people were like, then you just kind of exploded on the scene, and people were like, oh my gosh, she was an overnight success, but they didn't see the year and a half of continuous work and learning and growing.
Yeah.
You took, what was your first brand deal? It was like with some like charcoal
teeth whitening.
toothpaste or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got paid not even $100 for
No.
it, but like that was a step in the right direction.
But
But-
with that charcoal toothpaste, originally I made a video. They didn't know who I was. I just made a video and said, this is what I've been using, because everybody was like, how do you get your teeth so white? Since then, I don't use that charcoal toothpaste anymore because it's a mess, but it was good stuff. But I made a video and I was like, this is what I'm using. I tagged the brand in it, and that video did well enough that the brand reached out to me and they're like, hey, we would love to work with you. If we give you X amount of money, will you make us another video?
That was like the first step.
Yeah. And I think it's very important when you're first starting, to take those smaller brand deals, because it's going to help you grow in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, you're growing in your confidence and your skill set, but you're also learning how to communicate with brands.
Right.
I remember like the first time you like read one of your contracts, you're like, what's an ROA? What is this? What is that?
Yeah.
What's my conversion rate? And I was like, 0. You've never done this before. We don't know. So yeah, it was like a steep learning curve for us too.
Right.
But-
In the beginning, I don't know. I really wanted a manager. That was all I wanted. I needed to hire a manager so she can do this for me. But now looking back, I have a manager now. But looking back, I'm glad I did not have a manager until I did. I mean, I just hired her 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Because if I would have hired back then, I would not know what I know now. So
Right. Because you had to do it all yourself.
I had to do it myself. I knew how to talk to brands. I knew how somewhat negotiate.
Still learning, even like 2
For
years,
sure.
2.5 years, not even 2.5 years into
Yeah.
it. So one other thing I think that you did really well too was just kind of building a community versus just creating content.
Yeah.
So like when you first started, it was like, "What's up, besties? What's up, besties?" Like every
Yeah.
video, like our boys would like be scrolling through TikTok, and they would just say that line and then swipe to the next video. "What's up, besties? What's up, besties? What's up, besties?
Right.
What's up, besties?" But that was kind of like one little thing that you made the thousands of followers that you had on the other side of your phone feel like they were connected to you one on one. And I
Right.
think that was like that was cool because like every time someone stops you, they're like they almost every single one of them's like, I feel like I'm shopping with you. Like
Yeah.
it feels like a one-on-one experience. So there's
And for me, that was the most important. I really wanted that community, and I don't like I call some people call them followers or subscribers, whatever. They're my girls. Like when I refer to them, even when I'm talking to him, I'm like, my girls did this, or one of my girls said this, and you have to build that community first, because if that is not there, that connection's not there, then I don't know if you can really have that long-term success with them, I guess.
Yeah. One thing that like I for those of you that don't know me, I work at a church, and one of the things that I say to like a lot of our interns or onstage communicators, like anybody can communicate, but not everybody can connect. So it's like you have to do things not just to communicate what you're wanting to communicate, but you have to somehow through a digital space create like a human connection. I don't know. I feel like that's something that you've done well. We were at Disney World a couple of months ago, last month. I don't even remember when it was.
Yeah.
These four ladies came up to you and you're talking to them. You're like, "Hey girls, let's take a picture." And they're all like, "She said, hey girls." Like that's just kind of like what
That's
she's
just
been
what
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it went from besties and then we've morphed into girls. But I felt like girls was more true to who I am. Like
Right.
that's really what I say. Like when I'm talking to literally my girlfriends that I know and I talk to on the daily, like I'm always like, girls, let's do this or whatever. So
Yeah.
like that felt more genuine. But yeah, like that's how I talk, and you have to be authentic in that way.
Yeah,
too.
I was gonna say like authenticity is like key too, because your personality like is your brand. Like whether you realize it or not, you're building a brand.
Yeah.
I always say your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So when a follower is just like, "Oh my gosh, you have to check out this girl. She shows the cutest stuff. She's so fun. She's so bubbly." Like a lot of people are taken by surprise, like what you see on your phone of her, like that's you.
That's me.
Yeah.
And
So it's
every
like for our
time-
friends, they're like, "Oh, you go to church with Kerrissa," or "Oh, Carissa's kids go to school with you." They're like, "Oh, who? Kerrissa? Oh, yeah, that's Kerrissa. Yeah,
Yeah,
Carissa's
like-
great." Like, it's no big deal to her, but it's like she's true to herself. You know, like going
Yeah.
back to her first thought is just kind of like just be who you are.
Yeah.
You have to know who you are.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like when you turn a camera on, you do have to take your
Your energy level.
energy up just a little bit. You know, like you want to stay true to who you are, but you want to be a little bit bigger.
Right.
Just
so
like
if we were
make-
just to sit here and just talk like how we just talk to each other one on one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the speed I'd talk to you in the car when we're just driving
Yeah.
down the road or folding laundry or something. But since, the camera's in front of us, this
You-
is a little drab, this is a little boring. So you kind of have to turn up the energy. It's still our personality. Still, we're still using the same words that we use in day-to-day conversations.
Right. You just take it up a notch.
Right.
Because,
It's just like theater. It's just kind of like you have to be larger than life.
right. Because it'll get lost.
It does get
and
lost.
So, yeah, you have to just take it up just a little bit, but definitely stay true to who you are.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you can't like have fun with it at the same time too. Like be yourself,
yeah.
but like have fun.
Yeah.
Overhearing Zoom calls or like being on a Teams call with different brands, like people log in, they're like, "Hi, good morning." It's like, "Oh my gosh, that looks like you." It's like, "Well, yeah, that is me."
I know.
Like, "Oh my gosh, you are this much fun." It's like, "Yeah, that's just who I am."
Me. And I'm not one that does overly heavy filter. I mean, there's occasion that I will put a filter on myself or whatever, but like I'm not a heavy filter kind of person. Like I want you guys, I want that connection with you just as much as you want it with me. So I want to be as real as possible.
Yeah. But I think like content too, that's just not filters. Like when you're having a rough day, like if, we just recently hit the 4-year mark of your brother being killed in a head-on collision, like you shared that information. But
Yeah.
I think when you're trying to create that community, what's going on in your life that like those followers out there can connect to as well.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, like he was saying, just the connection, it goes back to boundaries as well. Like you want to be authentic, and I feel comfortable with my community sharing things about my grief. And so like that's just the real me. And so sometimes you're going to get my overly bubbly personality, which I feel like that's me the majority
most
of the time.
right. That's how it is at home too.
Yeah, but then sometimes I am a wreck and I
Have those moments on screen.
yeah, and I can't. Yeah, so I bring it all to the table. You guys see the chaos,
She's the free spirit. I'm the let's have plan A, plan B, plan C, and a plan D just in case. So,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like things predictable. I don't like surprises, but she's fly by the seat of her pants. And
Which how this works
like,
out, I don't
stresses
know.
me out sometimes, honestly. But I mean, that's just how we have fun with life.
Right.
Balance each other out. So.
Yep.
So if it wasn't social media for you, where do you think you would have gone?
Goodness, I don't.
Because you had two like pretty unique opportunities come your way.
I did. So my best friend and I, we actually had a TV. What was she?
She was like a talent manager, headhunter kind of thing.
Yeah.
From Great Britain.
Right. But she reached out to us and asked us if we would want to try out for this TV show on HGTV.
But you
Reached
guys
out.
had everything on YouTube. So like you just turned every project you were doing, her house, our house, into a video.
Right.
Edit it, throw it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And some of that like went viral,
Yes.
oddly enough, on
Yep.
YouTube.
So we had that talent manager. She had reached out and asked if. So it was like a year and a half
Yeah.
that we
And
went
like
through that whole process.
you guys got all the way up to the top HGTV execs.
We did. It was between us and another
a
duo,
mom-daughter-
mother-daughter duo.
Yeah.
And
It just didn't shake out, but
yeah.
but then they came back and they're like, "Hey, would you guys be interested in a show with the Property Brothers?" But that meant relocation to LA and just
yeah.
too many
Just
big asks for
right.
a family.
for
two
two
families.
families, really.
Right.
We both had we have 2 kids, and my best friend and her husband, they had 2 kids. So it was just too
It was
much.
a quick no.
Yeah. And I mean, looking back now, I'm so glad that was a no, because the freedom that I have with my content, like I would have never had that had it been picked up by a network. Like I would have been going by somebody else's
Yeah,
rules.
playing by the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Here we are, though.
here we are. And it's been fun. It's been a journey, and I have been able to experience things that I did never think would be a reality. Right.
But that's
That's how I started.
so when people ask me, how did your wife get started in social media?
She tried.
That's what I tell them, that whole thing
the
right
whole
there.
thing. First, she started with a pair of jeans from Walmart.
That is funny.
Yeah. So, but yeah, hopefully Maxwell, he's over
wants to
here.
say hi.
He wants to say hi. Oh, yeah, you're probably really loud in the microphone. Hi. Okay. Thank you. Love you too. But yeah,
We got to
probably-
put towels away.
We gotta put towels away. We fold them all of them. So, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye. Love you.